Hello! We are back at the end of the yarn. If you watched my last video, the 1.5, you will see I worked through the rest of the skein or ball of yarn, leaving about 10 or so inches, which I think is about 20 or so centimeters. And you can see it did in fact create a beautiful pointed pattern, and I can see how it will end up with this nice chevron look. These parts here that are like kind of holy is where I believe where we did our yarn overs, possibly our knit togethers, or something like that. And anyways, I think it looks really nice. I think it is a really great start. And so now we are moving on to the next ball of yarn, whether that for you is another color or is just a continuation of the same color. This is where we're at. So we want to leave a tail, a decent tail, right? And we'll weave it in later. Same with the start, we'll weave the start in later. I'm going to do all of my weave-ins at the very end. So our next color is just the next one up. These, once again, are the yarns that I got from Sun Yarn Studio in that unboxing video that I did. I had to dig around for the end, but I found it. And we are going to go ahead and this round, so for me, I ended on a row 1, an odd numbered row. Remember, there are 2 rows or 2 different rows in this, and you're just going back and forth. So I think that'll be pretty easy for me this time, because this whole row that we're going to do now is just knitting everything. But either way, the color change is going to be the same way. So I want to have a tail about the same length that I had before, and they ended up being about the same length as each other, just by happenstance. But I'm going to go ahead and measure out about the same again, 20 or so centimeters, maybe 25 centimeters. You want about 10 inches, I think, just to make it easy to weave in. So it's not difficult to do a color change or yarn ball change. There are many ways to do everything. This is the way that I'm going to do it. If you have a different way, or a way that you like better, or that is more seamless or something, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your guys' methods. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna line these up together so that I have about the same length, and then we're gonna go ahead and just get into knitting. So now I'm making a little loop. So this is my new yarn. I'm making a little loop because I'm gonna just go right into it. So I'm putting it behind here, and I'm just doing a knit stitch. Remember, whether you're starting the row or doing a row 2, it's all knit stitch you're starting with. Also, this pattern only has knit stitches. Anyways, so we are going to go in behind the yarn, right? So we have our yarn, we're going in from the back, and then we're going to go into our new yarn and pull it through. And we actually need to bring this yarn up. I didn't realize that I was not up on the other needle when I started. Now it's really loose, right? So you gotta be conscientious and kind of keep it from being too loose. And you're gonna have 3 different strands of yarn coming down at that point, because we have the old tail, and we have the new tail, and also the yarn that's attached to the ball. So make sure you're grabbing the right yarn as you're making your loops. You want to grab the yarn that's attached to your new ball, of course, leaving your two tails to just hang there. And I did not end up, somehow it kind of shortened a little bit. I might pull it out just a little bit to kind of re-lengthen my tail, because I do want a good length tail for weaving in that end really securely when it comes time for that. So I just kind of worked it a little bit to re-lengthen the tail a little bit. It is just a wee bit shorter than the other one, but I think it's still plenty long. I think it's still very long, probably longer than it really truly honestly needs to be, but that's okay. And remember, we are using our new yarn to do these knits. And keeping our tension kind of even, just pay attention to that, but don't fiddle with it too much. You know, we'll have an opportunity to kind of retighten it at the very end of this row. And then again, of course, we will weave in our ends at the very end of our project. Now it's up to you if you want to weave in your ends as you go. Some people like to do that. I don't have enough experience to know whether I like to do that or not, because like I said, this is kind of my first big project. I'm working on a hat scarf right now on the side, and that's my, like, I guess first real project. I did like a test project a while ago of a dishcloth, and that was nice. But this is like my first big thing. So yeah, so we're just knitting this whole row. Remember to use your new yarn. And remember, if you're not doing the same amount of color changes as I'm doing, that's fine. Just because it's a pretty easy pattern. It's the same thing all the way through. Same two lines back and forth, no matter how many colors you are or are not doing. I think this would be a really pretty blanket to make with one of those balls or skeins or whatever, where it just naturally has color changes throughout it, like those gradient types, or even the kind that are like kind of tie-dye or like randomly dyed. I think that would be really cool. Whoops. Oh. Okay, I just missed. I missed. That happens. And that's okay. You just gotta pay attention. Pull this up. I like to load up as many stitches as I can, so that I can run through them a little quicker. And once again, I'm gonna go through a few rows on this 1 point, or I guess this is part 2, and then I may do a 2.5 like I did a 1.5 where I'm just knitting in silence or semi-silence. I'll probably have something on the TV in the background to catch us up on the rest of the color, but I want to make sure we get a good start going, a good feel going, make sure we're confident with our color change and our tension, and yeah, just take some time to chat. I think it's nice just having this time to talk. It's kind of like some downtime, you know. It's a nice way to spend some of your afternoon after you get off work, or maybe in the morning, maybe you don't have to work, or maybe you're in school, and it's just kind of nice to unwind and do some knitting. You know, it feels like one of those productive hobbies, and hobbies don't have to be productive. Hobbies can be whatever you want them to be. They're just hobbies. But what I like is that not only do I enjoy the act of knitting, the repetitive motions, and the feeling of the yarn, but you, in theory, will end up with something usable. And, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's, you know, man-made. It is not like something that has to be scrutinized. If you make a mistake, well, you can either go back and fix it, you can patch it and move on, you can just do whatever. You can just figure it out. You can just move on without patching it. I mean, I guess depending on what your project is, you may want to patch it or something so it doesn't unravel, but it's neither here nor there. It's just one of those things. So it's also kind of why I like quilting. I like to do quilting. I have my sewing machine right here. You can't really see it, but here's my sewing machine. I like to make quilts with that. That's a fun hobby. And it's another productive hobby. You know, at the end, I get to have or gift whatever this quilted thing is, whether it's an actual quilt or like a hot pad or something. And that's nice. It's nice to make things. It's something you can gift or something you can keep. Behind me, you may be able to see. Oh no, you can't because I'm in front of it. This was a quilt that I made called Fancy Fox for my cat Lucy. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was, at the time, that was the biggest thing I had ever made. It's not anymore. It's only like, I think, what is it? I don't remember the dimensions. 3 by 4 feet, maybe 36 by 48, maybe not even, maybe 30 by 40 inches or something. But yeah, it's nice. I like it. Here was another thing I quilted. These are really dirty, so I use them as tea mats. You put your teapot on there, right? So this was before I made the Fancy Fox quilt. I made this block, just a single block to practice. This was a pinwheel quilt. There's a lot of tea stands on it. That was one of the first things I ever made. Just learning basic shapes. Yeah. So anyways, these are always fun things to do. And just something I enjoy spending my time doing. Yeah, if you look back in my channel, you'll see the latest thing I was quilting was the Solstice Lights quilt top. And I specified top because I have not actually quilted it yet. I've only made the top. And I put it in my pile of whips, my works in progress. And I'm moving back to the beginning of my pile of works in progress. I have not actually started, but that is my next project to start, which is a queen-sized top that I have made, the Zephyr top by Alderwood Studios. That top is packed away, but I am making the backing, or I will be piecing the backing. I'm just going to use the leftover pieces from the top and from some other fabric from the same line that I didn't use in it, but that I had used for something else. So I'm just going to put all these scraps together to try and make a back that's the right size, just to use up old fabric. And then I will actually sandwich and quilt it. And if you're interested in that, I can show you more of that project in my progress. But right now, I guess we're focusing on knitting. Knitting is a new skill that I started learning at the end of last year when I was given a box of my great-grandmother's knitting needles. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy knitting a lot. Yeah. So we're almost at the end of our row, and then we will start again. And the next row, we will go back to the odd numbered row, or the row 1 of it all. I think I'd like to get a few rows deep in this part. A lot faster now than it was when I started, and I did decide fully to do the English style. That's just more comfortable for me, and I find that my tension is a lot more consistent in the project when I'm doing it the English style. So yeah, but I'd like to see some of that chevron pattern really show through before we finish this, if possible. So remember, we get to the end and then we flip back over, and you can see a little bit. I don't know how well it comes up on camera, but you can see there's kind of that cream color on the top. All of my stitches to begin with are cream colored. Switch hands. Let's load up our needle on that side, and where our ends are on this side. And we ended on this side, but you know, we're knitting back. We're knitting back and forth. We're not knitting in a round. So we got to go back to row 1, or first row iteration. Knit 4, so knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually before we continue on, we're going to check our tension. We're just going to kind of adjust a little bit those threads, adjust our tension for the other side. Okay, so now starting the asterisk, because we have our 4, so starting the asterisk is here, and then knit 1, yarn over. Remember, it's coming out the back, so you got to bring it to the front. Knit 4, one, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice. And remember, everything we're knitting now should be back on that cream. We should be knitting cream to cream. So there's the first one, and here is the second one. Yeah, maybe that's where the gaps are, actually. Is where we do our knit 2 together. No, that's where the point comes down. Okay, well, anyway. knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then yarn over. I like to pull out a little bit so it's not pulling so tight, and then yarn over. Yeah, the yarn overs is where the holes are. Okay. And then repeat for the asterisk. So knit 1, yarn over. There we go. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice. So this is the first, this is the second, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then yarn over. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice, so 1 and twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. I'm just trying to load up as many stitches as I can. Starting at the beginning again, so knit 1 of the asterisk, I should say, beginning of the asterisk, yarn over, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice, so once, and twice, knit 4 together, or not knit 4 together, just knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then yarn over. Pulling out some yarn. Okay, and let's push this up. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice, so once and twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice, so first and second, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together once, and knit 2 together twice, knit 4. Maybe I need to raise the camera. I'm kind of holding it up high. 2, 3, and 4, and then yarn over. And I think this will be our last round. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together once, and knit 2 together twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, and I should end up with 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now's a good time. You can see this last one's kind of loose compared to the others because that was my first stitch with the new yarn, so we're just going to kind of tighten it a little bit just so it's even with the other ones, not too tight, and then you want to knit your last 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So now we've done 2 rows, but remember we started with a row 1 and then we have a row 2, and so you can see this method of color change kind of shows, if I can show it, like you have a row of white that comes up above the yellow, or like the beige, the cream. Can you tell? We'll probably be able to tell easier when we get to the darker colors, because I think there's more jump in the colors. So if anybody knows how to avoid that, I don't know if it's possible to avoid that, but let me know if you do. And I don't mind it. I mean, it's fine, and I know like why it's doing it. I'm just wondering if there are like any tricks that people know to, like, you know, not have that happen. Anyway, so now this next row is row 2. So this is just solid knit stitch the whole way through. Remember, make sure to grab the correct thread, the one that is going through all of, or not all of anything, the one that's attached to the ball of yarn. And now we just knit every stitch all the way back. This is technically the second row, even though for us, of course, today it's the third row we're knitting. That's just because we started with a row 2 with an even number, right? We start, when I say an even number, I mean 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We started with a 2. If you started with a 1, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can do the color change on either one, and maybe next time we will be at a row 1. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. It's the same length of thread, so I think in theory we should always end on the same row after row 1, but who knows? You know, actually it may be different, maybe opposite this time, because you know, we started last time on row 1 and ended after row 1. This time we're starting on row 2, so maybe we'll end after row 2. So yeah, it may be opposite, actually, thinking about it that way. Makes more sense. So let's just keep going. Let's just knit every stitch along this row. And then we'll see how we're doing. And we'll probably do another row. Remember, every single stitch on this row is just knit stitch. If you guys have any suggestions for other patterns we should do as a knit along, please let me know in the comments below. I know I'm not done with this yet. I still have like 6 balls of yarn, including this one, because I think I have 7 total. So it's gonna be a little while, I think. But always good to get things in the pipeline. And yeah, start thinking about future projects. If you have any yarn recommendations too, please let me know. I like natural yarns better. I did my dishcloth with acrylic, and I did not like the way it felt. It was very stiff and scratchy. It's also like 20 years old probably, so that could have something to do with it. But I prefer the idea of natural fibers. And so far I prefer the texture also. Like I said, this one is the Drops Andes. And it is a mix of alpaca and wool. The hat scarf that I'm doing is 100% alpaca. It's that baby alpaca from that company. What company is it? I don't remember. And that one's really soft, really nice. So I'd like some more natural wool or natural fibers, whether that's wool or cotton or you know, different animal fur, of course, only ones that don't harm the animals. But yeah, so let me know. I am always open to suggestions. I'm just starting my knitting journey and I don't have like any stash of yarn, you could say. Like I have a stash of fabric because I've been quilting for 5 years now. So I definitely have like not a big stash, definitely not a big stash, but a little stash. But I don't have any excess yarn at all. Oof. Uh-oh. I did not bring this up evenly and I was getting stretched in a way that I did not like. Okay. But I fixed it. Anyway, I don't have any excess yarns. Not that I need excess yarns, but like, you know, I'll need something for whatever our next project is. Because I'm going to use 100% of this yarn for this project, and I'm using 100% of the baby alpaca yarn for the hat scarf. So I'll need to get new yarn when it comes time for the next thing. Also soon I'm going to need to use double pointed knitting needles for my other project, which is something I've never done. So if you have any tips on that, leave it in the comments below. I'm not sure how many I'm supposed to use. It doesn't say like how many to transfer it onto. It's 112 stitches total. How many stitches can I put on each needle? Does it depend on how long the needle is? I would assume that yes, it would depend on the length of the knitting needle, but I don't know. I don't know what is like a recommended amount of stitches per needle. I know I'm supposed to divide it into 28 stitches. For markers, is it like one needle per the 28 stitches? Maybe. But I feel like I could put more on it than that. I don't know. Maybe not. I've never used double pointed needles. Maybe I'll just do like 4 or something. Also, I feel like it'll be really easy to forget which needle I'm working on. I guess maybe not, because the yarn will still be coming off of whatever I'm actively working. So maybe it's not that difficult. I was thinking like I'm going to have to leave a note or something, some kind of marker to tell me what needle am I working with. But yeah, like I said, I guess it should just be whatever needle has the yarn coming off it. Okay, so maybe that's not as difficult as I'm expecting. But I'll have to look up some YouTube videos on how to do it, just to have a little more confidence going into it. So, like I said, If you have any tips or tricks or suggestions or recommendations, leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them. Also, if you have a recommendation on what kind, I'm thinking about getting a wood one because I really like these. These are wood, and these are amazing. They feel amazing. They're easy to use. They're slick. I just really like these. And the other needles that I'm using that project for right now, because I'm knitting in the round, are also wood. They're from the same set, and I really like them. Okay, so, and I heard bamboo, I don't know if it's true, but I heard the bamboo ones can get kind of like snaggy. Okay, so we can see this little right here. That's the new color. So we can see that we are starting to take shape with this beautiful chevron pattern. I really like this. This is really, this is really nice. Okay, let's do another round. I like the color of this yarn too. It's almost like a butter yellow, but like a little muted. I don't remember what color they called it, but it's like, let me see if I can find it. What color did I use? To go to my order history. My orders. Here we go. So the first one was white. They just call it off-white. And it's nice. It's really nice. Okay. Well, anyway, we're back to a row one. We gotta do the, yeah, I feel like my tension has evened up pretty well in this area over here. We gotta do a row one, a right side row. Oh no. Oh yeah. Right side. Okay, whatever. So let's just go over this again. Knit 4. It's our beginning border. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's load up our needle. And we're going to start. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. And remember, we're doing it twice, so this is once and twice. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Load up the needle. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together first time, knit 2 together second time, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Load up the needle. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together once, and knit 2 together twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Load up the needle. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, 2, 3, and 4, knit 2 together once, and knit 2 together twice, knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Okay, starting over at this asterisk, so knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together once, knit 2 together twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together twice, so once and twice, knit 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and yarn over. Load up the needle. I think I probably have 2 more rounds. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. First time, and knit 2 together a second time, and then knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over. Let's load up the needle for our last round. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. Once, knit 2 together. Twice, knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over. Should end with 5, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're gonna do another round. You can really see that yellow starting to come through now, or the off-white. We're gonna do another round of just knitting. This is a row 2 now. Let's pull some yarn out. And we're just gonna knit every stitch. And you don't even have to think about counting unless you really want to, because they're all just knit stitches. The next project, maybe we'll make something like a loose sweater, a big sweater. That could be fun. I like one with kind of a loose-ish knit. Not too heavy. I like it to be drapey. So if you have any suggestions for patterns, let me know. I like an oversized hood. Maybe we'll do a poncho. That could be fun. Might be the best way to start the sweater arc is with a poncho. One specifically without sleeves, so that it's like kind of more of an easier transition into things like that. Yeah, that could be fun. I think for that one, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say a self ombre type fabric or gradient, whatever, or maybe a splotchy, or maybe an intentional pattern. I don't know. Send me your suggestions, send me your thoughts. And of course, I'll do my own research as well. It'd be fun doing these outside so you get like the nature sounds in the videos. If I had more shade, maybe I would do that. I don't know, I might look into a way to do that. Okay. So, yeah, let's kind of stretch it out a little bit so we can see a little bit better, a little bit easier. You can really see now where that off-white has been added. Anyway, I think this is a really fun pattern. And I'm just going to continue on until I get to about the same length thread as I did last time. So I will see you back in part 2.5 if you're wanting to watch those in-betweens, or part 3. All right, have a nice day. Bye. Bye-bye.